Here's a really weird part. Frosty is given an ear tag at birth for identification, kind of like Holocaust victims back in World War II. Frosty's herd number is 26. This is just like humans getting their ears pierced. This is not like getting your ears pierced as a human. I wonder if in their process of indoctrinating 5 to 10-year-olds on why dairy is so good, they'll leave out really, gruesome details like that. Who knows? We'll see. Hey, what is up, guys? So today we're going to be going over a new dairy kind of propaganda campaign that is filtering through the youth of America, and also just a, dairy farm who is a part of this campaign that I ended up trolling. So part of this anecdote involves a family member of mine. So just for the sake of, preventing doxing, I'm going to be a little bit vague about some particular details of the story. So let's get on with it. A family member of mine has a kid who is in school, and she ended up receiving a letter that was kind of representative of this new Adopt a Cow dairy campaign that's going on. Now, before I read the letter, I just want to say that this really is very reminiscent of my time as a child in elementary school and middle school, and how clear it was that the dairy industry had, special interests and was really just shoving dairy down our throats. Basically, any chance they had. There was, the Got Milk campaign. There was the food pyramid, which really strongly emphasized dairy products. And I even remember, I forgot what year it was, but I have vague memories of somebody coming in and just straight up talking about dairy and how good it is for you. Now, being outside of public school now, I am not too familiar with what's going on with school with respect to the dairy industry. However, what my family members sent me did put me back in the loop just a little bit. So let's read the letter. Dear parent or guardian, our classroom is participating in the Adopt a Cow program and has adopted an actual live calf growing up on a dairy farm. Her name is blank from blank, located in blank. Our calf will not be living in our classroom, but will continue to live on the farm by our host farmer, aka, their oppressor. We will receive monthly updates about her through email that includes information, pictures, and videos. You gotta wonder, guys, if they're going to update all of these little children on what happens to this dairy cow once they stop producing milk at a cost-effective rate, or, what happens to the mother cows with respect to her young when she gives birth, or how the mother cow is even impregnated so consistently in order to lactate to begin with. I wonder if in their process of indoctrinating 5 to 10-year-olds on why dairy is so good, they'll leave out really, gruesome details like that. Who knows? We'll see. These updates include lessons and activities related to her growth, how she is cared for on the farm, and how milk is produced on the farm. How she is cared for. Now, I want you guys to just remember this as we continue to go through this campaign. They frame things like, this is us taking care of the dairy cow, blah, blah, blah. And they make it look like they're caring about this dairy cow just because of the fact that this dairy cow, it exists, it's sentient, blah, blah, blah. But the real reason they're caring for this dairy cow is because of the profit that would be diminished if they had not taken care of the dairy cow. For example, if the dairy cow has an infection, obviously that will, hinder the process of optimal milk production. And for that reason, they will try to prevent things like an infection. Not because the infection would be bad for the dairy cow's well-being, but instead because it would be bad for their profits. We are excited to follow her journey on the farm while learning more about dairy farming and where milk comes from. If you have any questions about our new adventure, please contact me. Now, by the time we get to the end of this video, you will see a group of really good questions that I ended up sending to this dairy farm that most likely aren't going to be answered in their indoctrination process of these children. Scan the QR code to learn more about the Adopt a Cow program. So if we scan the QR code at the bottom, it will take us to a website called discoverdairy.com where it says, Adopt a Cow, a year-long free experience in your classroom. Forget the guinea pig. How about adopting a 100-pound dairy calf for your classroom mascot? Don't worry about finding a pen big enough to hold her. We have one for her that we put her in just after birth while we were in the process of isolating her from her mother, who is a very maternal being. Oh, sorry, that's not in it. I just added that for the sake of clarity. The photos and stories we'll send you about her life on the farm will make her, quote, come alive for your students. The best part? It is free. All right, so let's go ahead and see the sample introductory packet they have for this clearly not dairy propaganda campaign. Okay, so the first slide has an introductory thing where you meet their victim of exploitation. It says, meet Frosty. Hi, I'm Frosty. She has the tag on her as well because she is really nothing but a commodity to these people. And it says, Big Sandy Creek Dairy, the Benkoski family. So they're putting this great spin on the fact that it's like a family farm. It's so innocent. And, they're really just this humble family just trying to, get by at the expense of exploiting other innocent beings. So it says, meet Farmer Catlin. She owns and operates the farm. Big Sandy Creek is a third-generation farm established in 1947 in Madison, Georgia. Today, the Benkoski family cares for 70 cows on their 200-acre farm. So just here, saying that they care for them. And it is true that they do care for them, but just remember the theme of when they use terms like, taking care of and blah, 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 because they're only taking care of their profits in taking care of these cows. There isn't like a fundamental, like a real desire to say, hey, maybe we should care for them just because they are sentient and have a will to live and have a will to avoid suffering. No, their care is underlined by a desire to maximize profits. So here's the name of the victim, name Frosty, birth date September 19, 2020. Sire is lit, dam freeze, birth height 29 inches, birth weight 69 pounds, breed Holstein. They got some pictures of her being harassed. So it says, within a few hours after birth, Frosty drinks colostrum and takes her first few steps in life. Number 2, Frosty's navel is dipped with iodine to protect her from getting an infection. Remember, why is she being protected from getting an infection? Because her getting an infection would hurt their profits. Frosty also always has fresh water to drink. Oh, here's a really nice part. Frosty lives in a calf hutch for the first 3 months of her life, just like you have your own room. Okay, so they're appealing to the fact that, people have their own room and trying to justify confining a baby calf to this small room while being away from her mother. She will join her other herd mates once her immune system has a chance to develop. Frosty drinks 1 gallon of milk replacer a day for the first 12 weeks. Milk replacer is like baby formula for cows. And, you got to wonder why this baby calf isn't just drinking her mother's milk. Oh yeah, because they're using her mother's milk to make milk for human beings. Let's keep going. Farmer Catlin freshly beds Frosty's bed with clean wheat straw each week. Straw keeps Frosty clean and warm. Frosty loves being happy and healthy. Here's a really, really weird part. Frosty is given an ear tag at birth for identification, kind of like Holocaust victims back in World War II. Frosty's herd number is 26. This is just like humans getting their ears pierced. This is not like getting your ears pierced as a human. This is getting a tag pierced onto your ear so that you can be identified by your oppressor. Big difference. Notice they tried to relate humans getting their ears pierced to trying to put a means of identification on a cow, which, by the way, just further symbolizes their commodity status to their oppressor. At Big Sandy Creek, most of their cows are polled. Polled means cows are born without horns. This is something they can breed for so they don't have to dehorn their cows. Mother's name, Freeze, age 2 years old, height 5 feet 2 inches, weight is 1,350 pounds. Freeze produces 80 pounds or 10 gallons of milk per day. Freeze's job, right? It's her job, meaning this has been forced onto her. Not really like a job, more like her obligation to her, you can call her oppressors or slave owners. Freeze's job on the farm is to produce high quality milk for the Benkoski family, to sell it so it can be made into fluid milk and other dairy products for you to consume. It's not for, her baby calves that we isolated from her at birth. It's for us humans. What are your favorite dairy products? None. During colder days or rest times, this is the pack barn that Freeze can hang out in. It provides shelter and warmth when Freeze wants it. Oh my God, guys, they're taking so much care of Freeze. I mean, how amazing are these farmers? I wonder what they do to her when she stops producing milk at a cost-effective rate for the farmers. Freeze also has open access to go outside and graze in the warm Georgia sun all day, every day. Interesting. I mean, when you say things like every day, that kind of implies that there isn't going to be a day where she doesn't have the freedom to go out into the sun. But last I checked, when she goes to the slaughterhouse because she's no longer producing milk at a cost-effective rate for the farmers, she's not really outside. She's more like in a hellhole where she's watching her friends be killed and where she ends up being killed for beef, because remember, the farmers can make a profit off of her further once she stops producing milk, and that is in the form of selling her for beef. In the pasture, Freeze has access to fresh water 24/7. Did you know cows drink up to 40 gallons of water each day? This is the feed bunk where Freeze is feed twice a day, her TMR. I think they meant fed, and TMR just stands for total mixed ration. Cows eat up to 100 pounds of feed every day. Wow, just so efficient. You know what we should do? Instead of, having milk from plants that we can get like straightforwardly from plants like soy, cashews, almonds, peas, what we should do instead of get milk from those sources is have an animal and feed them 100 pounds of grain per day. Let's filter our nutrients through another being and get around 10% of those nutrients in return. Makes a lot of sense. Twice a day, Freeze takes her turn in the milking parlor to be milked. The milking process only takes 5 to 10 minutes. The milk travels through clean metal pipes and is stored in the bulk tank to be kept cold until the milk truck picks up the milk. All right, guys, so that is the end of the really informative and just not biased dairy propaganda adopt a cow introductory packet. So before we go, I'm just going to read what I ended up sending them. Hopefully, I get a response. We'll see. So I can't really access like a screenshot of what I sent, so I ended up copying and pasting it, and I'm just going to read it real quick. Hi, I was just wondering if the Adopt a Cow program comes with education on the following 4 things. What happens to dairy cows when they are no longer producing milk at a cost-effective rate for farmers? How is it that dairy cows perpetually lactate? Are they forcibly artificially inseminated? Are baby calves separated from their extremely maternal mothers at birth on a dairy farm? If so, why? What happens when a dairy calf gives birth to a male calf? I'm just so curious about this and love what y'all are doing. I hope to hear back soon. So that's what I ended up sending them. Hopefully they can get back with a response. But yeah, I think it's fairly interesting, these kinds of campaigns toward children. I mean, it's obvious their goal is to try to frame dairy farming as a sort of like innocent thing that's extremely harmless to the dairy cows, when, most of you guys know who watch me, who are familiar with dairy practices, it's obviously not ethical. And I really wonder if they're going to actually respond in a way that explicitly answers those questions. Probably not. But hey, keep your eye out for things like this where family farms try to describe how they're taking care of their animals, because it's always this front of like, we really care about them and blah, blah, blah. But we all know that if they couldn't make money from these practices, they wouldn't do them. The reason they're taking care of these animals really has nothing to do with the fact that they genuinely care about their well-being. They care about their well-being insofar as caring about their well-being will maximize their profits. If these people actually did care. But all right, guys, that is the end of the video. Let me know down below if you've seen any other kinds of dairy campaigns like this, whether they're, in the US or different places around the world. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Dude, even vegans don't get your weird, stupid wannabe sense of irony here. Who is your audience? Nobody gets these dumb jokes. Dude, even vegans don't get your weird, stupid